All right, I will go ahead and start our meeting. It is 7:01 p.m. If we can start with a moment of silence, please. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just as a reminder, if you happen to have a cell phone with you, please make sure that it's off or on silent. City Clerk Domingo, if you take roll call for us, please.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Reed.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Lawler.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here. I was asked to approve of the agenda, but removing item I. Do I have a motion to approve? Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Right. Public comment. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regards to an agenda item, you may come forth, give us your name, address, and 3 minutes is yours.
Everybody, my name is Sean. I'm here representing Albion Company at 420 South Superior Street. We have 9 on the agenda tonight asking to approve a change in our licensing. We opened as a microbrewery in 2018, and it was hopefully all of you know, but we've been down there since doing our best. The beer industry is changing. It's slowed down drastically in the last few years. And breweries are closing at a never before seen rate since go around the state. And we're fortunate that we can weather it because in part we have a great kitchen and great reputation in the restaurant. We've actually done about 80% of our revenue food since we've opened. We have a restaurant first and a brewery side. We are asking to switch to a microbrewery and to add a BBA license, it's called. That will allow us to show you the Class C license to be able to serve wine and spirits. For those of you who weren't here when we were actually approved as a winery as well. We had a winery license in the state and never got approved federally because we didn't have enough room for a separate area. So we're kind of revisiting that. The number one request of thing is brewery. You guys have all seen, hopefully seen in the white paper I kind of provided ahead of time. We're kind of becoming a minority around the start. Of course, that wine and spirits in Marshall, Grand River, and Marshall and Jackson both have wine and spirits. So crews going out looking for someplace to go. Only takes one person in a party of 4 or 5 or 8 that don't like beer to scratch us off the list pretty quickly. So just here on behalf of the brewery, we have to answer questions when we get to it. I ask for your consideration. Hopefully, one thing that's changed since I submitted that to all of you guys is Cascarelli's not closed. There'll be a one fewer option in town. It's not as simple as scooping that license up and going because most of these owners are going to want to sell a license with the building to add value to the business. So we've looked at other licenses in Calhoun County to try to buy one directly as was required for the BDA permit. Not gotten any responses. Kind of go through that process with the NLCC. We'd probably get about a 3 to 6 months process with the NLCC, so it should for the city choose to support it. And you guys have a whole lot of other data in the paper that I sent you for kind of what we've done in this community. What was probably the most striking to me putting that together was that we almost paid out around $3 million in wages since we've opened most of the houses rather. So we've had a significant impact on jobs here, had a significant impact on downtown traffic of the Albion, and we're here to humbly ask you to continue to support us and what we feel is the next best thing for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, City Council people. Go. I'll start on this. I'm Jim Hosnell. My address is 249 Snow Avenue in Valley Creek in Bedford Township. and state representative for the Albion communities in relation to your discussion on the agenda in relation to downtown businesses. I will confirm, how I need to do that, all of these are Albion residents. What Mr. Wade just indicated, there is a lack of downtown eatery opportunities on Monday evening in Albion City. So I'm very supportive of all Albion businesses and Albion eateries. And support that which Mr. Wade just expressed is for him on the agenda. Next coffee hour I have, and many of you have said my coffee hours, and I thought of course you said the last one this past weekend. We're at Sterling Books and Brew on North Superior. Next one is November 2, 2024, simply because it's the first Tuesday, excuse me, first Saturday of the month. I'm focused on the first Tuesday of the month. Can't do anything about the fact that we have constituent coffee hours throughout that day, both in Battle Creek and Albion. And I invite you to come along. Albion is always full of activities. I was here after coffee hours on Saturday to participate in the READ program. I'm excited. In Salem, the UCC's program on Sunday in relation to their pie activity, pie and peace activity. And I just saw Gary Tompkins on his way out while I was running up the steps on the way in. I'll be heading to Blues at the Bone. So I'm excited for all that's happening in Albion and all that will continue to happen in Albion. And thank you for the opportunity to be the representative for your city. The times I've been there and like to continue to be so. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regards to an agenda item? Seeing no movement. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar items?
So support.
In your package, you have the September 16th study session minutes and the September 16th regular session minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, first item is to approve the Malibu Brewing Company meeting request.
So moved.
Support. In your packet, we have the information that Mr. Wade alluded to, the information that he provided, along with the document needed, the assessor's certification as well. Do you have any questions or comments? Like I had mentioned during our study session, definitely this is going to bring in a lot more people to your business. And I think you're gonna have a good problem on your hands, given once this gets enacted, because I know, like you said, a lot more people will want to go to Malibu because of the food. And those that don't like beer will definitely have other options to choose from. So I'm hoping that you guys are prepared for all of that goodness. All right, any other questions or comments?
Yes, I'm glad to hear that, you know, he's being proactive in terms of changing to meet the needs of his constituents. And so one of my favorite places to go. So continue the good work.
Only there were a council member late night,
Yeah, it'll be great.
Monday nights after council.
One night per week at least, yeah.
City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Lawler.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes,
French.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the second reading for the ordinance 2024-04?
So moved.
support.
City Clerk Domingo? I'm sorry. Attorney Harkness?
Yeah, so this is the second reading of the public camping ordinance that we've discussed at the last few meetings. We've gone over this ordinance several times. The one change that council had requested prior to the first reading was a modification to the penalty provision that breaks it up into first offense and second offense. That's been modified in section G. Otherwise, everything is the same. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Attorney Harkness? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes,
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2024-08 for property maintenance code?
So moved.
Support. Attorney Harkins.
So the International Code Council produces an updated version of the International Property Maintenance Code every 3 years. We have an ordinance that adopts the code by reference. The last time we readopted the code was in 2015. The most recent version is 2024. So this adopts the most current version and brings the city current. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Attorney Harkness? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
yes,
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve of the RFP language for the city manager search?
So moved.
Support. Attorney Harkness?
So this is the exact same request for proposal that the previous city council approved for the previous city manager search. They're on page 9 of the RFP, page 34 of your packet. There's several references to a committee. We'll replace that with city council. I'm not sure where that came from. It appears to be a typo, but we'll make that change, and then assuming the council approves it tonight, we will get this posted and released. The only other change we made to the RFP was to update the dates, which obviously are different, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Attorney Harkness on this item? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
yes,
French.
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed, Jackson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the application for the DDA from Betty Clydesdale? So move.
Support.
In your, on your desktop, you have her application. Like I said, in the study section, she currently owns the business that is at the corner of Clinton and Erie. It is a costume design. She has been here for several years and now wants to get involved. I don't believe she is here. Any questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Davis,
yes,
French.
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the mechanical device that'll be located at Dollar General on Eaton Street? So move.
Support.
Attorney Harkness?
So just so we're all clear, we figured out during the work session, this is a phone and electronic device recycling kiosk. That is a mechanical device that you're.
Any questions or comments for Attorney Harkness? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember French.
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
yes,
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Next is our discussion on the mobile food ordinance. In your packet, we have an ordinance that has been approved by council. This is a discussion item. We want to make changes given special events. We can definitely amend, but we need to let Attorney Harkness know how we want to amend it. Attorney Harkness?
Man, I'm glad I came tonight. This is all city attorney day. So after previous discussions with council, what you have on your desks in front of you was a modification that I made that allows for council to waive the permit requirements for special or community events by resolution. So that way we don't run into the issue of having time issues with doing waivers. So we can just do it with a simple resolution. The resolution just has to specify the dates that the requirements are going to be waived, as well as any other limitation council wants to put on it. During the waiver period, though, the mobile food vendor does have to maintain liability insurance. I think that's smart on the city's part because quite frankly, no mobile food vendor should be operating without insurance. So they're covered, we're covered, but the council can waive the balance of the requirements. During our discussion, I know council expressed some concern regarding the existing subsection F regarding noise. We'll modify that to deal with bullhorns and things like that that produce excessive noise. And I know Councilman French in his fastidious nature noticed an uncapitalized C in the enforcement section, so we'll correct that as well.
And just to comment on the criminal histories, the one concern that I had, I think other people have with that, is that it doesn't tell you why we need it. It just says you get a criminal history report. And if we're not gonna have a reason for having it, I don't know why we're doing it. There's nothing that, there's other jobs that we have at the city that require you not to have certain convictions, but there's no convictions necessarily for having a mobile food truck. So I guess that would be my concern as chief of public safety, of saying, why are we asking for this? So.
To add to that too, as far as my understanding is, the person applies for it, they receive it, but we're not running that through the city. So like we as a city don't actually know if it's valid or not, like if it's a doctor document, if they're turning it in, to my understanding. And one of the complaints that some of the vendors had was each person on the food truck would need to have that as well. So just for instance, the 4-H group that does the lemonade stand, they may have 8 kids on there, but now they got to get a background check for each one of those kids at $10 a piece on top of what they pay to participate. So I think it could kind of extrapolate some of their, some of their barriers to enter into the festival as well. Just something to consider.
So I take Councilman Williams' point, and I take the chief's point. I think here's maybe my suggestion. In terms of the background check, the iChat report that's run through the Michigan State Police, it's basically the public version of what public safety would run on their criminal check. And so the formatting is identical. The only difference is the chief's version might see things that are not otherwise available to the public. My suggestion would be we can modify the ordinance to say the applicant has to run the iChat on themselves. I think we should have a list of disqualifying offenses when they shouldn't be licensed, certain felonies, obviously. And then they just maybe certify that they won't have anyone else working for them that has a disqualifying conviction as well. That way they don't have to run the background check, but they're still on the hook for certifying that they're not employing someone that might have a disqualifying felony. Is that better? Because then they're only out of pocket $10.
So
When the
using the,
report comes back, does that come back to you? Like if some local vendor just wanted to set up, like out at, I don't know, a company. Because we have those every once in a while. They do the iChat. And then where does that report go?
It's literally a digital, it's like a PDF, it produces a PDF.
But where does it go?
That whoever is doing it, so public, so it'd be like if you went online, you can pull your own iChat.
Well, I know what my criminal history is if I had one.
Wednesday.
Wouldn't that go to the chief if that was?
no,
It's a public document, so you can,
So they attach it to their
Yeah.
application.
Oh, that's what they do.
Okay,
I mean, anybody can
that's the part.
run a criminal history on anybody in the state of Michigan.
As long as you have the date of birth and full name.
I just thought that came back to you for your knowledge.
No, it goes to whoever's applying for it. So, but they attach it to the application so that we know.
Councilwoman Love?
Thank you so much. So does this, I mean, the question that the chief asked was, seems like it didn't get answered. Why do they need a background check?
Well, I think the reason behind it is you probably don't want somebody with, by way of example, someone that might have a conviction for criminal sexual conduct operating a mobile food vending.
You can't be around kids.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, that type of conviction is only associated with mobile food vendors.
Right.
I don't think we want anybody with that conviction around kids, but things like that. I mean, that's what we'd be looking for, is some severe felonies that it's like, you know what? This is somebody that we probably don't want interacting. Or, with the public, at least if we have any control over it. So things like that is what we'd be looking for.
So we.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson?
Yeah, so you would actually put the list of severities on who's in.
I think it should list in here what would disqualify you personally.
I think it should too, so then it lets them know if they want to get that background check or not.
Right.
Say it again,
I'm sorry, so listing listing the reason of the background check and what it consists of.
Yeah.
Once you see that on there, it gives you a chance to make the decision, do you want your background check?
yes.
So I think what we would do is we build in a section that says, these are the offenses. Like you have to have a background check. And these are the offenses / statutes that disqualify you from being
Yes.
able to have a mobile food vending
Okay.
license. And it's probably something we should eventually build into our peddler's license and things like that. I mean, we have something somewhat built into our marijuana license ordinance already, so it makes sense to do it in this one as well.
Yes, there are a couple of concerns that came to my attention regarding, one, how can they get a license if there is a concern regarding the background? And the other one, well, who monitors it? On Festival of the Forks, is there someone kind of walking around and randomly checking?
Well, I think that's something that we're gonna have to look at how we're gonna do that in the future.
Right, how is
right?
it going to be monitored?
Right.
And thirdly is, if, for instance, Councilman Williams mentioned 4-H, and one of the representatives talked with me also, if they already have had a background check for Michigan State University or 4-H, do they need to get another one to participate in the festival here in Albion?
Well, what they were saying is that whatever that background is, whatever that document is, it has to be attached to the application.
So they do need to get another one.
Right. And I think what should be included in here is if you have a copy of your iChat, I think we need to put 90 days, 180 days,
Year.
it would be valid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because
Right.
every time they participate, suppose they participate in festival and then Juneteenth and, Big Read, and are they getting a background check for everything? But if at least there is a time limit for the year.
Fourteen days before your application. Because the idea is, you don't want an iChat report that was run 6 months ago, and then you put in the application, it's like, okay, well, what happened in that 6 months?
Right, okay. My other question is, if we're gonna include that as a requirement, how does that impact this waiver where we're now waiving all this application stuff?
Yeah, you're waiving everything except for the insurance. 'Cause
So
that-
can we add waiving everything except insurance and background check?
That's up to council. I don't.
I mean, the concern is we're talking about whether we want background checks as part of our vendor application. And now we're waiving, this exception is waiving that application for our festival.
Okay.
It's not waiving the application.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
whole thing except for the insurance.
Yeah, so,
Insurance.
That's what the
and background
complaint
check.
was when they came.
because they were double applying. Right, they're applying through the festival website and then they have to apply for the city and they were forgetting.
So there's,
Right.
they still have to apply through the chamber,
Right,
but they don't have to reapply.
Right.
So that,
so the
they
question is,
don't have to apply.
right, but this is a city thing, not a chamber thing. And so the question is the chamber application gonna be as protective / restrictive as ours is?
Well, they were following our.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not creating a loophole.
Or double duty.
Yeah, you don't want too much beauty at the festival.
But they.
I think so for the most part, like I said before, when I looked at some of the other cities vending, it didn't have a background check on there at all.
Yeah.
Not to say that we shouldn't, but I mean, we need to weigh it. Like,
But
Well, I was on the planning commission when we did create this, and Ian had several different cities that we had pulled their documents, and the majority of them did have the background check.
in other, okay. And like when I looked, yeah, when I looked on their immediate pages, I didn't see that. But, you know, I didn't call over there to ask if they had it.
Yep, no Jackson.
So the festival has been for what, 20-something, 30-something, or longer years? And so-
48, 50?
48, yeah, so however long it has been, so when the planning commission did decide to do this is when it happened.
Yeah.
This, because we have not had this attached to the back of our, chamber didn't have this attached to the back
No.
of their, application. Everything just went through the chamber, and then we as the city did not correlate or add anything else additional to it. So that is where a lot of the complaints coming from, because you know, you used to get your square whatever for $25, and if you wanted it bigger than that, then you had to pay for that, plus get your health license.
Yeah.
But now we're adding that additional charge of the background check and the other, so that is where those complaints are.
Attorney Harris.
So I think I have a pretty good handle on what the concerns are and the feedback is. So what I'll do is I'll integrate that into a draft amendment for council to look at their next meeting. You know, and if there's more changes to be made, we don't have to do a first reading. We can just discuss it. But I think I have a pretty good idea, so I'll integrate those and bring something back to you at your next meeting.
Thank you, Colin.
I might, you know, just because it's a discussion, we get to talk about philosophy. What are we thinking about, you know, someone who runs a background check and they've committed some crime, whatever it is, and they've done their time? Do we believe that people can rehabilitate themselves? And that are we now convicting someone who committed a crime as a 19-year-old who's now 40 and trying to make a living? Are we somehow preventing them from, you know, making a living because we've created a restriction that, I'm not saying I agree with it, I'm just putting it out there because, you know, we talk about, you know, people serving time and being rehabilitated, and we're still gonna restrict their behavior. So.
Kip can answer.
So with part of the justice reform, they completely redid the expungement statute, so a lot of the stuff that wasn't expungible is now expungible, and so people are going through and having all that stuff wiped off the record, which will not appear on an iChat report anymore.
Okay.
And just because you use the example of a 19-year-old, a lot of the people that are what are known as youthful offenders fall under what's called the Holmes Youthful Trainee Act, which is a suppressed status, which means basically any crime that they commit with a limited number of exceptions is also not on their iChat report. So between the expungements and the suppression, I don't think anybody's not going to get a fair shake. If it's on their criminal history, it's generally because it's not something that can be suppressed or expunged because it's recent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Next is our discussion on the downtown businesses. Alderwoman Reed.
Yes. Our festival in Fork was absolutely fantastic. But it brought home a lot of people who had left here, and some of them were Black people. And they wanted to know what was going on with downtown, because there's nothing down there. And there's people that had said, you know, that I had thought about moving back here, but I don't know if I want to move back here or not, since they're hearing about the other places around here, how they're doing and the jobs that's improving and things. And so we agreed to give 27 years tax abatement to the downtown area to fix up. But we haven't heard of any developments starting yet. And I know the Mercantile is going well and everything, but there's other businesses, that whole side, the east side of, Superior Street. Almost all the way up. There's a business here and a business there. But when are they going to start working on them and getting them improved? I keep hollering, I've been here, 4 terms now. And each time I've been saying, I want a shoe store, I want a shoe store. I have not got a shoe store yet. And there was other people that was talking about, you know, things that they knew used to be here when they used to live here years ago. That we just don't have. So can somebody tell me, or can we ask to have,
To get an update
something
from-
brought to us asking
DTA.
when whoever owns the properties plan to, when and what do they plan on doing with them?
Update. from
Yeah,
DDA.
update. It would be nice to know. I mean, if we're going to give them a 27-year tax abatement, how long is it gonna take them to start having businesses there?
And who owns?
That's what I'd like to know too.
Okay.
So it's Bill Dobbins's organizations, Ace Investments
Yeah, I
or
understand,
whatever,
yeah.
that we gave a tax. They're building, working with the same company that built the 400 block South Superior and the Mercantile, you know, the idea of building residences upstairs and businesses downstairs at reduced rent. The last I heard months and months and months ago was that they're in the fundraising side of that they have to raise money to match grants that are coming in, the new market and historic tax credits that are coming in.
Yeah, it's art that, oh.
And so that's all
I know,
happening. And I haven't, you're right, I agree. We need an update.
Yeah,
And whether it's the DDA or property owners on those blocks, I think it would be helpful.
So most of that property on the east side is part of the big Albion plan.
Yes.
And or Dr. Shaheen is the one that's running that now.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe Dr. Dobbins has anything to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
art.
There you go, that's what it is.
yes, but that's the big Albion plan.
That's it.
Can they let
Yeah.
us know?
I could try to get a hold of Dr. Shaheen and see if someone can come and talk about it, so.
Shoe store.
I don't think Sam's doing it anymore either.
Last time I had trouble with the building, he's who I called, so. Like you say,
Yeah.
Do
So-
give me a pass.
it's been a few months, but.
Yeah.
Right, well,
It's a good point, Len. Thank you.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have an update on.
And hope-
I know there's mercury underneath one of them.
Mm.
right, future agenda items, anything that council would like to have, I mean, meeting agenda?
I got a question.
Yep.
Before you note that, do we currently have, grant writing capabilities?
Yeah.
Yes,
We
it
do?
Yes.
Okay.
Scotty likes them all the time.
My agenda item will be later. I'll speak with Scott and then we'll go for it. Grant writing abilities and stuff.
And any other agenda items? Attorney Harkness?
You know, I had mentioned this at a previous meeting. We're working on updating our codes that we adopt by reference. I had mentioned we're gonna be doing the fire code. I just tonight got a copy of our new fire code from the chief, so we'll be bringing this one to a future meeting for adoption.
Just don't put it in.
Sum it all up.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
You have to read it all before we.
No.
We put that into AI and get the 2-page summary.
Right.
No.
Any other agenda items? Public comments. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council, you may do so at this time.
Yeah.
Give us your name, address, and 3 minutes is yours.
Excellent.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Arnold. I'm an Albion student. I'm for the most part, I have a question for the city manager. What is the city, what is the city plan on doing to actually bring in more businesses to the down area?
Well, it's my first day on the job. So I'm not sure I can answer that question.
So is this part, are you in, Eddie's class?
Eddie.
Eddie Visco?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what you can do, you can either email myself or the interim city manager. Any questions that you may have in regards to that question, and we can hopefully, be able to respond to that for you.
Mayor, can you also inform them of the formalities of how this portion of the meeting goes?
So typically when it's public comment, it's not a back and forth. Like, people are able to come up, comment or approach and talk to council. And then typically what happens is the council person, where the person lives, responds back to that individual. So you are in Councilwoman Waller's, is it?
What do you live in?
He's in Albion College.
Depends on what dorm.
Yeah,
White House.
that's
The
mine.
White House.
So then Councilman French
That's me.
could also be able to follow up with you since he is your
Yeah.
council person.
Happily to do that, right after this meeting if you want.
But did he have any more questions?
So if there's anything else you would like Councilman French to get back with you on, this is your time to ask those questions and then, like I said.
Or we can meet after and we can ask all the questions you want.
That's me now.
Okay, very good, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Extra credit.
Is there anybody else that'd like to stand and address council? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Lynn Williams, and I want to have the trust towards the Morning Festival Boards. I was reading this read and the manager about wondering the public and previous years track records of food trucks. And I was kind of wondering why hasn't this been implemented earlier, as well as like how such background transformation in the previous festival.
And what building do you live in?
Hilton Towers.
Where's Hilton Towers?
Your Baldwin, it's right near me.
And she was again.
It's not Mitchell Towers?
Yeah, Mitchell.
There you go. That's me too. That's me too.
I would like to, did we change the name of buildings?
I'm your precinct council person.
Yes.
Nice to meet you and
And
we
your
will,
name once again?
Annie Williams.
Amani Williams?
thank you.
That's Williams.
And just so you all are aware, we all are able to meet with you after the meeting. So whatever you ask, we'll help you get the answer to it, all right?
Anybody else like to stand and address council?
All right.
All right, seeing no movement, do we have a city manager's report?
No. Yeah, it's my first day on the job.
You didn't leave us with anything?
Councilmember comments? Any comments, from council members?
I got one.
Yep.
Yep, I definitely want to send a big thank you out to all the city staff as well as the Chamber of Commerce and Billy Beers. This year's festival again was a great festival. I've seen a lot of people who enjoyed and had a good time down there. A lot of faces I hadn't seen in a while, like always, but really definitely appreciative of the work that they're doing at the city Chamber of Commerce and city staff as well. Thank you.
You definitely have good leadership there. Yes, Councilman French.
Thank you. I would echo Councilman Williams's comments regarding the festival and the way it was run. It was especially gratifying to see the results of this council's work in approving equipment purchases for our city as they were part of the parade. Really impressed with that new equipment and we hope to see its successful use coming months. So thanks Chief Kip and your team for getting all those grants written that allowed us to spend all that money. So well done.
Street sweepers. My favorite.
What was that?
The street.
Well, yeah, not adorable, I tell you.
Councilwoman Davis.
Yes, in addition to that, thank you. It looked very good. It added to the parade and people can see where the money is going. So it's very relevant. The other thing is congratulations and thank you to your staff. We had a question that regarding one of the houses that were, that had a fire accident and we got immediate results and the house is now leveled. So I went by on Valhalla Street and everything is gone and they're ready to start building. But because of the work of the staff letting the homeowner know that you had done your part as the city of Albion and it was in, I guess, safe build or something like that, the next level. So she was able to contact the next level and the job has been done and she's going to have a brand new home soon.
Yeah, the building permits were there, the demolition permit was not.
Exactly.
Well, whatever happened, it was good. It's gone.
It's gone, so.
It's gone. Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson?
Yes, so we did not get a chance down at the festival to start with getting our children to come aboard and help with the logo for the infrastructure on the water tower. So what we're going to do, since we do have a little bit more time, we're gonna do it that evening on Sweets on the Street. Is that what it's called? So we'll do it that evening.
Yeah.
On Superior Street, so then they have 2 hours. So I'm gonna need your help. So please tell all the different groups and just any child that wants to come out and show off how they can draw. And then also we'll get our artists as well on board so that they can also help them, so they can help them draw. And we'll be on our way so that we can get our logo going and get something from our children. So we can say our children here in Albion help us put the logo on our new water tower.
Attorney Harris?
That actually sparked a reminder, we need to have a closed session at our next meeting
Okay.
regarding our water towers.
Oh, no.
Councilman?
Yeah, one more thing, a big thank you to Jessica Robertson, the big read. I wasn't able to attend. I rode by and I saw all the people out there as I was heading to work. But definitely appreciate all the work that they do continually to make sure that literacy is at the forefront of our community. So I definitely want to send a thank you and a round of support for her and everybody that was there supporting that event as well.
Have a nice time.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned 7:44 PM.